to dash or hyphen. We have a hyphen and we have a dash. We know that they're both that little single horizontal line. For a hyphen, it's used to divide words into syllables. It can connect multiple adjectives that describe or better define a noun. It can be used for writing numbers as words, and this happens when the numbers appear at the beginning of a sentence. And we also use the hyphen for word clarification. Now, the dash is that horizontal line, but it's used more in informal writing than in formal writing. And it indicates an abrupt change in thought, tone, or direction of the sentence. It's like an announcement that says there's an interruption in the original concept and thought here. And it is also the form, the informal. To dash or hyphen. We have a hyphen and a dash, and we know that those are those little horizontal lines. But how do you use them and when? A hyphen is a single horizontal line that's used to divide words into syllables. It can connect multiple adjectives that describe or better define a noun. And it is also used for writing numbers as words. And this happens when you have numbers at the beginning of a sentence. You can also use the hyphen for word clarification. The dash is the horizontal line, but it's used more in informal writing than in formal writing. And it can also indicate an abrupt change in the thought, tone, or direction of the sentence. It's an announcement that says this sentence is turning to the right. The dash is also the informal form of a colon or a parenthesis. We also have the indash, and it goes between two dates or two page numbers. So we have the hyphen. As this chart shows, we have words into syllables. So the example is provide, and you divide it into different syllables. We have PRO hyphen VIDE, provide. We can also use the dash to connect multiple adjectives. The example here is the 70-year-old man still drove a truck to work each day. And we analyze the sentence, what we understand is that this is actually a series of adjectives describing the man, 70-year-old. Okay, so they're fixed. The 70 hyphen year hyphen old man still drove a truck to work each day. When you have numbers that start a sentence, those numbers need to be written out. So the example is 32 complaints were filed because of the noise. And the fix, write out the number 32 into words. 30 hyphen 2 complaints were filed because of the noise. We can also use the hyphen for word clarification. The example is the union president will resign the contract. Analyze. Can the president of the union quit a contract, or does he sign it again? The fix. The union president will sign the contract. Now the dash is a little different. We can use it for the abrupt change in sentences. We can use it to provide more information. We need to understand whether or not it's going to be used as the informal form of a colon or a parenthesis, and how do you use the in dash? So let's start off. The abrupt change in sentence direction. The dog was running home for dinner, period. He saw a squirrel. So, analyze the sentences. Well, there are actually two sentences. We need to decide, can these two sentences be put together? Is this informal writing or something more formal? So, the first sentence, the dog was running home for dinner, dash, here's that abrupt change in the sentence, he saw a squirrel. We can also write it as, the dog was running home for dinner, semicolon, he saw a squirrel, period. If we're going to provide more information, we can write it like this. The example baked potato chips are good, period. They have less fat. Analyze the sentences. Well, we know that there are two of them. Can they be put together? Is it informal or something formal? Doesn't matter in this particular case. Potato chips are good, dash. They have less fat. There's that providing of more information. They have less fat. But we can also write it as the baked potato chips are good, semicolon, they have less fat. Is it going to be an informal way of using the colon or a parenthesis? So let's take a look. The example. There are different types of documentation, semicolon, Chicago, comma, AP, comma, and APA. Analyze the sentence. Well, we know that this is a list after a complete sentence. Is it informal or is it formal? In this particular case, it's probably more informal. And the fix is, there are several different types of documentation style, dash, Chicago, comma, AP, comma, and APA, period. We also have the in dash, and it goes between the dates or page numbers. For example, I want to read pages 60 through 100 before class tomorrow. Or, from 1960 to 1990, comma, there were major changes in public education. Analyze the writing. These are page numbers and dates. I want to read pages 60-100 before class tomorrow. From 1960- to 1990, there were major changes in public education.